inspire them to volunteer?
When you help others, you feed your soul. Try a small act and how it makes you feel. Live in life with compassion, help others, but also it helped me a better person.
Well, on keep being that better person for all of us in Dallas, because we all benefit. And thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you, sir.
We have to challenge young people's minds, but in addition, we have to challenge their bodies. That's something Debbie Dennis has believed a long time, and she's part of a group that created the Dallas Mayor's Youth Fitness Initiative, which is a partnership. What would your message be for our audience that would inspire them to do the kind of work that you've done?
So here's what I'd say. Find something you're passionate about, something that pulls at your heartstrings, and then use your strengths to make a difference. It's amazing how you can give very little and get so much back. You can move the needle on some big issues. And frankly, it can reduce your stress. And if you think you have issues or problems, oftentimes you find when you walk in someone else's shoes, your problems are small.
When people in Dallas are having to deal with Alzheimer's or dementia, they've been coming to see Barbara Glazer for a long time. Dealing with these patients and their families can be so challenging. What do you get out of it? What's in it for you?
Making a difference in somebody's life, and one person really can. It's very rewarding.
What message would you share with our audience that you think would inspire them to do this kind of important work?
I think any kind of volunteering is wonderful. It gives you a purpose. You make wonderful new friends. You learn about organizations you didn't know about before that are very worthwhile. Volunteering is good.
Access to educational opportunities in a competitive environment is critical. Dr. Mary Evans Sias has been providing that access for many years now. Mary, what motivates you to do what you do?
I think I've been motivated most by my father. When I was growing up in Mississippi, I saw him in his barbershop giving haircuts to young men, getting clothing, getting food and other things for people who didn't have it. And I didn't understand why blacks were necessarily being treated differently, but he told me he volunteered and he gave because each day you had to do a little bit better. I didn't understand exactly what that meant, but he meant try and do everything better the next time around, not just for your family, but for anybody who needed help.
A safe and secure environment is at the core of the human experience. Courtney Underwood has spent the last 16 years building a safe and secure environment here in Dallas. Courtney, what motivates you to do what you do?
You know, I still remember what it was like as a 15-year-old after being raped at knife point by my pastor to look for help only to find none. And I never want anyone else who survives sexual violence to ever look for help and find none. If they're, looking to go to a hospital, looking to go to a clinic, looking to find counseling 10 years after an assault or 15 years after an assault because something has triggered what they went through back then, I want them to be able to find a safe place. So this has become my mission. It's my heart. It's what I love. And I work with really amazing people throughout the community to make it happen.
Being homeless presents challenges, not day by day, not hour by hour, but minute by minute. The homeless population in the Metroplex has a good friend in Marsha Williamson. Marsha, what motivates you to do what you do?
I was thinking about that. My parents taught me to treat everyone with equal dignity, with love and care. And when I came to my job at Dallas 24-Hour Club, that was what motivated me to think, homeless people really have burned all their bridges. They need to have dignity in their life and they need to be loved and cared for in a structured environment.
All right, all together everybody for our next honoree. Giga Maggies, Esha Kothapalli will be joining Texas A&M as a freshman in the fall. She's done some terrific work here in the DFW community. Esha, what motivates you to do what you do?
Well, when you help a community, you can also spark change. Whether it's big or small, you can also improve the world around you for the better.
In a few years from now, we'll be referring to our next honoree as Dr. McCoy. Aakilah McCoy joins us now. Aakilah, what got you involved in volunteering?
What got me involved is my parents instilled in me to always give back to other people, and I'm aware of the issues going on with society, and I want to contribute and do my part.
Now the mic is on. Now, aren't all these women truly inspirational? Yes, another round of applause. And now for the Stan Golden Men of Action. Just as Southwest Jewish Congress honored a woman with a Lifetime Achievement Honors, they did the same for the men. And that award goes to none other than Eddie Deen. Yes. Eddie Deen, whose menu and delicious food obviously we are enjoying tonight. I haven't had any yet, but I'm going to get some when this is over. Eddie has been clear on what he wants, and for the last 17 years as an educational activist, he has been teaching the incarcerated, the homeless, and the impoverished inner city school kids on how to feel lovable. That deserves a round of applause there. Now let's look at the Stan Golden Men of Action awardees. We start with Giles Davidson, a former corporate man who gave it all up to become a philanthropist in the fields of mental health, social justice, and leadership development. He is a social impact leader and an advocate for high-quality public schools for all children. Trini Garza, the first Hispanic member of the DISD Board of Trustees. Held several federal appointments under President Clinton, but has continued to be a local leader and spokesman for the Latino community. And he has groomed his grandson to keep up the advocacy where he has stepped aside. Next, we have Stan Levenson, a national figure in the world of public relations, has delivered strategic communication programs and counseling to dozens of nonprofits on championing education, entertainment, human rights, the arts, and most especially jazz music. Lost to a light. If I lose the light, then I really can't see, so then we're really in trouble. All right, Tevar Watson. Is a hero of the Hamilton Park community in far north Dallas. His care for teens and his coaching of the Bobcats youth football team are manifested in the 100 or so youth that he mentors yearly, both scholastically and socially. His home is always a safe place to do homework and learn social skills. Paul Zoltan. Paul Zoltan, an immigration attorney, has co-founded the Refugee Support Network and trains courtroom observers to assist in the due process issues in the Dallas Immigration Court. He has mentored other attorneys and volunteers to widen protections for the newest arrivals in the Dallas area. Now, as we look into the future, we see Zach Bernstein, who was co-president of Students Against Terrorism and a recent graduate of Yavne Academy in Dallas. Zach is unable to be with us tonight because he is away for a study year in Israel before returning to attend the University of Texas at Austin. Now, Matthew is also unable to be with us this evening. He is now majoring in biology at Loyola in Chicago, having finished his high school at Jesuit College Prep in Dallas. Matthew was a student leader on a school diversity board, served on a social justice program that assisted youth in a children-aged orphanage in Guatemala, and he took part in local nonprofits such as the Children's Advocacy Center. And we want to thank Zach and Matthew's families for celebrating these wonderful young men's accomplishments with us tonight. Now, this is an awesome lineup of men of action, right? Yes, yes it is. And now we get the chance to hear from them directly. They'll share a lot of their inspirations in a little time. As before, please hold your applause until the end of the videos. So here goes the video.
The name Eddie Deen has been synonymous with good eating and good times in Dallas for a long time. But to the kids at Carter High School, the name Eddie Deen means something totally different. Eddie, what motivates you to do the things you do?
Well, many years ago, 16 years ago or so, I went to a homeless shelter and I asked the question, when people perceived their power of control was taken away, and collectively everybody was a 5-year-old. And so that day I asked, what happens when you're 5 years old? Well, you learn how to ride a bicycle. So I built a bicycle that you actually, when you turn right, the wheel goes left. And so when I brought it back to the shelter, nobody could ride my bicycle because they were programmed to ride the other bicycle. So they started learning that there's laws that govern how to ride a bicycle. There's laws that govern even how to avoid being homeless. There's laws that govern how to avoid going to prison. And so we started teaching these laws in the shelter, and we had great success. Over 3,000 people have actually become opposite people in our program.
So the roots, the genesis of your passion are very clear. But what about the benefit side for you? What's in it for you?
Well, if you teach people how to feel lovable, important, significant, I'm in the industry of serving other people. And so what happens is, instead of the individual thinking that people exist for the benefit, they start thinking that people exist to be beneficial too. So I get peace of mind just working with people that fundamentally are thinking about other people's first, serving others instead of taking from others.
So a lot of people in our audience tonight think about living their lives the same way. What can you tell them? What would inspire them to do the kinds of work that the kind of work that you've done?
Well, the critical piece of the puzzle is you really got to study the laws that govern, how to help people, how to inspire other people to become all that they can be, and that's, to me, is the most critical piece of the puzzle. That's a lot of times it's missing. People don't ask enough questions to figure out, okay, what are the fundamental laws that govern how to create awareness and transformation in other people. And we've got our program down to 10 hours that we actually can take people off crack cocaine, drugs, or self-destructive behavior. So I'm pretty excited about that.
So those are some good rules to live by. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Mental health and social justice advocates have it easier because of the work of Giles Davidson. Giles, what motivates you to do what you do?
Fairness. I tell friends all the time that if all of us are sitting down and we're playing a game of Monopoly, and we change the rules somewhere in the middle, and somebody gets to go past go in extra time, chances are they're going to win. Not always. Sometimes you have the exception, and somebody actually comes through when when kind of the odds are against them. But I think we've set up a lot of systems that have left people out, and my overriding goal when I wake up in the morning is to try to level the playing field.
If our future is in the hands of our children, and our children's future is in the hands of educators like Trini Garza, who's been involved in education for 50 years in the Dallas area. There are a lot of people in our audience tonight that want to help people achieve those kinds of things. What would you say to them? What would your message be to inspire them to volunteer?
I would say, help us be part of the solution. Help people be happy. Enjoy seeing a smile on their face when they are excelling in their education, in their life. I would say, be part of the solution. Join us in helping people help themselves.
Stan Levenson has burnished the image of many, many corporate citizens and individual citizens in Dallas over the last 50 years. What you may not know is his bona fides are significant in the area of community development. In this day and age, we hear so often the question, what's in it for me? What's in this for you? What do you get out of doing all this kind of work?
It's truly a life enrichment. I feel very honored with the privilege of providing support and resource to the organizations and institutions that I've been fortunate to be involved with. And I think fulfilling such an important opportunity really gives you more meaning in life. And I'm just very excited to be continuing to do that.
Turning children into young adults is challenging work. Just ask Tevar Watson, one of our honorees tonight. Tevar, what motivates you to do this kind of work?
Well, the children motivate me to do this type of work. I was just always been active with the children, not just your own children if you have children, but their friends, their relatives. And I tell my wife this all the time is that, you know, if we can have a positive impact on our children's friends, that puts me at ease a lot as far as the peer pressure that everybody normally goes through or that they would go through when they see that positive impact that we're giving them as well. So my advice would be to always feed into the children, because like I said, it is an old cliche, but it is right that the children are the future.
Whether we like it or not, immigration is on our minds on virtually a daily basis. It certainly is for our next honoree, Paul Zoltan, who's an attorney and has done some volunteer work mentoring attorneys in handling immigration cases. Paul, what does volunteering do for you? What motivates you to do it?
We all have won, in this country we all have won the lottery of birth. Each of us has the capacity to help others if we choose to. Look about you and you will see injustices. Look about you and you will see people whom you can help. People in need, and it's not that necessarily the first thing that you try will be a good fit. I tried many areas of pro bono practice before I chanced upon the field of immigration law and helping folks with applications for asylum. So it may be hit and miss, but there is something to be done. There is a place for you, and work to be done that will fulfill you and that will leave no doubt that you have a purpose and that you have put your gifts to good use.
We're all better off in Dallas for the work that you do and the fulfillment you bring. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
The fight against terrorism can't start too soon. You can't be too young. Zach Bernstein knows that. He's been involved in that. Zach, what motivated you to get started? Where does this volunteering, this desire to volunteer come from?
So I think that the only reason people don't volunteer is because they have so much going on in their lives that taking on something else is, overwhelming. Everyone wants to help people, but people think that volunteering is a whole huge production. But really, it starts with something small, like just holding the door for someone, a stranger, when you walk into a store. And you can call it paying it forward, you can call it the butterfly effect, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. Any acts of kindness make the world a better place. And I know that if our audience makes a conscious effort to do these small kindnesses, then they'll find themselves more inclined and motivated to join a community service that has a larger reach and a larger impact.
Matthew Johnson reminds us that you can never be too young to start helping people. Matthew's done some work with the Dallas Children's Advocacy Center, and he's helped with an AIDS orphanage in Central America. Matthew, what got you started volunteering? What motivates you to do this kind of work?
I'm a firm believer in the idea of being a man for others. So this means that I dedicate my time and my talents toward local community service opportunities to try and help enhance the world on a larger scale.
What do you get out of volunteering?
Volunteering gives me a unique opportunity to share my leadership and classroom experiences to help make a difference in the world. And in addition, it gives me an opportunity to see the world in a new light and step back and take a step out of my comfort zone.
We want to thank our honorees for their help with this project. We hope they've inspired you. What's your plan for creating a better tomorrow? Now, on with the rest of the evening.